What's happening, family? Dr. Joe here. Happy Sunday. Happy Resurrection Day. And I hope each of you are well and blessed. I'm so thankful and glad that you've taken the time to tune in with us live on this amazing day. It is amazing how quickly time goes by. And here we are at the end of another month. One quarter of 2024 starting today is behind us. We start a brand new quarter starting on tomorrow. I can't believe how quickly time goes by, but as they say, time moves fast when you're having fun. And that's exactly what we have done and what we are doing. So I want to salute each and every one of you. Today is an amazing day. This is Resurrection Sunday. That people all over the world are celebrating this. So if you are celebrating with your family members, your friends, I hope you've had an amazing day, and I wish you a very, very happy Resurrection Day and Easter Sunday on today as we celebrate collectively. My name is Dr. Joe. I'm the author and founder of the world's greatest transformational processes, the 40-day Turnup and the Journey 3.0 Plus process. And I want to welcome you here on today. We've got a great interviewee. I've got a great guest who you will soon meet very, very soon. The 40-day Turnup is a transformational process. It is an authentic, real, holistic transformational process. And when I say holistic, I'm talking about not just losing weight or changing the body, but body, mind, and spirit. More than 16 years ago, I had a lot of issues. I was obese. I had a lot of medical issues. I had a lot of pain. I was young. I was in my late 20s. And I wanted to do something about it. And like most people, I tried diets and programs, and all of them worked until they didn't. It wasn't until I began to study nutrition, holistic medicine, and I applied those things on myself that I was able to get some resolve in my issues. But what I noted was the issue with me wasn't finding the right quote unquote program, but it was finding and having an understanding of the spiritual, non-tangible, mental, and emotional things that I was dealing with, that I was completely ignorant to. And when I understood that and putting that together in something that is digestible for people called the 40-day Turnup and the Journey 3.0 Plus process, God has blessed me and my team and my amazing leadership team to have worked with tens of thousands of people since 2012, the inception of this particular process. So what you're watching on this evening is Village Chat. This will be our 4th episode of a brand new season. We've had 3 great episodes before, and I know we're going to have a great episode on today. And Village Chat is our opportunity to spotlight actual participants who are in the process. Sometimes they can be leaders, coaches, individuals who are actually a part of the process, so we can spotlight them as individuals. One thing about all of us is we all come from the same source and from the same place. God has made all of us. And what I love about these conversations is one thing that connects human beings like none other is the story. Because when you look over religion, when you look over where you are in the world, when you look over race and all of these different things that people use to separate us, you'll discover that we are more alike than we are different. And just to hear the stories of these amazing people is what we want to present to you. So I want to present my next guest on our 4th episode of Village Chat, and I want you to give a rousing round of applause. I want to present to some and introduce to others my special guest, Miss Krystal Shipp. How you doing, Miss Krystal?
I'm good, Dr. Joe. How are you?
I'm doing great. You're looking good. You're sounding good. How are you feeling on this day?
I am feeling so good. I feel so healthy, probably healthier than I have in 30 years.
Wow. That's a big comment.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being my guest. You've been so engaged throughout the process since the jump. And when I reached out to you, you immediately said yes. So thank you so much for being my guest. And let's go ahead and just jump in. Why don't you tell us something about yourself, who you are and where you're from?
Well, my name is Krystal Shipp, and I live in the North Texas area. This is where I've grown up and have raised my family. And a little bit about me is I am a veteran from the United States Marine Corps.
Oh, and thank you for your service.
Thank you. And we have 5 children and 4 grandchildren.
Wow. 5 kids,
Yeah.
4 grands.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
can you give us the span of their ages?
So our children are, the youngest is 19 and the oldest is 32.
Wow.
And the grandchildren, the youngest is 2 and the oldest is 10.
So your hands are full.
They are full, but very blessed.
That is so awesome. 5 children and 4 grandchildren. Well, God
Yeah.
bless you and your amazing family. I'm certain
Thank
that
you.
your bundle of joys is applicable to you and your situation. So you live in the North Texas area. So what major city is close to you that people who may not know what North Texas is would be?
So I am really close to Frisco, Texas,
Okay, yes.
where the Dallas Stars train, or the Dallas Cowboys train at the Star. And
Yes.
I'm about 20 minutes from downtown Dallas.
So you born, raised, bred in right there in Texas.
I was born actually in Arkansas, but raised in Texas.
So
Yeah.
raised in Texas. That is
Hmm.
awesome. So
Hmm.
talk to us about your vocation. What type of work? I know you served in the United States Marines. Again, thank you for your service. But what has been your vocation?
So I have worked for United Health Group, which is an insurance company, for the last 25 years. I worked in sales for about 16 years and then moved over to the behavioral health and mental health division probably about 4 years ago.
Wow,
So I work with large employers handling mental health
wow,
issues for their employees.
wow. We got to dive into that. That's a lot. So you've been working in the insurance in United Health.
United Health Group, which is the same as the parent company for United Healthcare.
Okay, got it. Now, as you and I know, the insurance has changed tremendously. What have been
Yes.
from an insider, because you were there pre and post Obama, and I'm not making this a political conversation
Mhm.
at all. We keep things very, very neutral here. I'm not asking that question, but we all know that insurance has changed. What have been some of the major things that you've noticed from the industry that impacts the regular everyday American?
I think the first one would be just the increase in cost.
Yeah.
Um, it's harder and harder for people to get treatment when they need treatment, whether it's for cancer or any other type of thing, or even medications. I mean, the prices are just
Yeah.
outrageous. A
Yeah.
lot of red tape.
Yeah. A lot of political bureaucracy and things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, you hear oftentimes, Krystal, how people need different treatments and they can't get them. What are some things that maybe we could know, as maybe we have insurance, but we're not leveraging our insurance like we should? Are there things that maybe we can read up? Are there questions that maybe we can ask? What are some tips maybe that people who are, a regular American could know in order to help him or her best leverage their insurance and coverage?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is knowing your coverage. So when you go to the doctor, you have your plan at your fingertips. Everything is on your smartphones now.
Right.
Knowing what you have and what you don't have is so important. But even on further outside of the insurance, knowing what your community resources are. I mean,
Mhm.
there are so many different community resources that can help for those that are in need, whether it's um, different services, as far as treatment, different hospitals that are nonprofit.
Mm,
We have a couple here in the Dallas area, and different foundations that will help with medication.
wow. Now you said a lot. So basically people have a lot of resources in their own cities, states that we may not be leveraging. And what you're suggesting is we can look
Yes,
for those in addition to the coverage that we have. That's great information.
absolutely, absolutely. Your plan, your benefits are always going to cover something.
Yeah,
That's the beauty of insurance,
right.
but it may not cover everything. And so using all the resources that you can will help your out of pocket expense.
when a person is looking for insurance and you get a lot of calls, you know how it is, Krystal. You get a lot of calls, people saying, what questions should we ask that helps us pick the right carrier for us? Like how would what would one ask in order to make the best decision to where we can not really be sold to, but really making the best decision for ourselves and our families?
Right. Right. I think the biggest thing is, prior to you having that conversation with somebody maybe in sales or where, your employer that is offering a plan, is knowing how much you or your family utilize your medical system, or do you just go for your annual visit, or
Right.
do you go because maybe you have a child that has asthma that you have to go on a routine based basis.
Right.
And then looking to see how much the overall out of pocket is going to be, including your deductible and out of pocket and co-pays and all of that fun stuff. So you have to know your family dynamics,
Yeah.
to really pick the best plan.
That makes sense, because basically what you're saying is you can't make the decision off of what it costs if you're not taking into consideration all of the other things that you may need. So that's great. Like if you have pre-existing conditions, like you're saying, with a child who may require more visits to the doctor out of so basically what you're saying is you want to look at the whole picture and then make the best decision.
Absolutely. And I think it's one of those things that, even for me being in the industry for 25 years and we have open enrollment at the beginning of each year, it's still a little scary for me to look and see which plan is best for me and my family, because you never know what tomorrow's going to bring.
Now that's great, because we've heard with car insurance, it's good to vet other companies yearly. So do you think a good practice is for people to look for potential other carriers when that enrollment season comes?
I think it's important. Now, a lot of times, if you are employed, your employer may only offer one carrier. But if you are married and your spouse offers and has a coverage through another carrier, I think it's important to look at both of those and see which one best fits your family.
Oh, wow, that's great. That's great information. So you're in the insurance industry for 25 years, correct?
Yes.
You made the transition over into the mental illness category. Can you talk to us about that? What made you go in that direction?
I went in that direction, one, because I had been in sales for so long that there was a little bit of a burnout.
Yeah.
I was traveling so much away from home, working 70, 80 hours a week. And at the time I had a few of our kids were at home, teenagers. One of them was just, I needed to spend a little bit more attention on him and be at home. So it was a job that took me to where I could work remote. And the mental health and the increase that is just we're seeing across our nation, it was just kind of a passion of mine to learn more of how I can personally help individuals.
It's amazing that you said that, because this morning when I was dropping off our daughter to school, they were talking about mental health, and one of the number one causations of it was burnout. It's exactly what you just said. People who are just ground to bills and trying to meet deadlines, and being in sales. I know that's pressure, because it's like when you're in sales, you can only eat what you kill. In a lot of regards,
right.
You're always hitting these different thresholds, and then they're always bumping it up. I'm certain that makes perfect sense as to why you would get in that. How has it been since you made that transition?
It has been rewarding, very rewarding. I see a lot of success stories, but I see a lot of heartbreaking stories also. 2020 and 2021 was really hard for a lot of Americans, and navigating resources and being there for families that have had teenagers, young adults committing suicide because of loneliness, and it's heartbreaking. So I feel like being in the role I'm in gives me a little bit of a way to give back
Yeah. Yeah. What are some
to
success
others.
stories that you see? It's like people who are able to address their mental illness. What are some things that you're seeing that are positive?
So I see um, a lot of the individuals I work with are teenagers, and I mean probably from ages 12 to 17, to where they are going to inpatient places and spending, 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes longer there.
Mm.
Um, but they're coming out um, in a place to where they've got the coping skills that they need to help when life hits and there's bumps in the road, but also the family goes through treatment also so that they can help navigate, you know, those bumps in the road also. So those are the big success stories when you see the family really pull together,
Yeah.
and the individual is in so much of a better place. That's success.
Well, that's great that you're in an industry where you can, that you're saying that's where you're fit, it's rewarding and you're seeing positive stories like that.
Yes.
So once again, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears. You are one of our great participants in the 40-day turn up. How did you hear about the 40-day turn up and what made you decide to join?
So I heard about the program through one of my friends from church. She had gone through it a couple years ago, maybe, and I just kept bugging her because I was like, I see a difference. You look great. What are you doing? What are you doing? And so she reached out to me last fall and said, hey, it's going to be starting up. Here's the link. Get registered.
Mhm.
And I didn't really know what I was getting into. And so, if I'm completely honest and transparent,
Yeah, please.
there was a lot of information. And I was like, whoa, I
Yeah,
don't know about this.
yeah.
But wow, because I don't like vegetables and I don't like fruit.
Yeah.
I just don't. And
Yeah.
now that that's really all I'm eating, it's
Mhm.
becoming one of my favorites.
That's huge, Crystal. I mean, and trust me, a lot of people have been in that boat because we're so accustomed to not eating it, I
Yeah,
know I
yeah,
was, eating chips and fries and things that are quick. And then when you start going back to wholesome foods, it is quite an adjustment. So,
it is.
how is, how are you feeling now? What are some things that perhaps you've seen in your life since you started?
So, I the sleeping much better. I'm sleeping much better, and I really attribute that to the healthy eating and the clean eating. Like, I'm not eating any processed stuff,
Yeah.
but I'm also not getting in bed and feeling like, oh, it's time for a good bedtime snack.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm not snacking at night because that was my thing is I want to snack late at night while I turn on TV and just
Yeah.
veg. Um, but during the day, I mean, between the vitamins that I'm taking, which I've never taken vitamins,
Wow.
and then just eating, I have so much more energy. It's not hard and do the working out and being more mobile rather than just sitting at my desk. I mean, I bought a trampoline for my office, and I'm more active.
That's so great because that's the part of it that you really have to fall in love with is how you feel. It can't just be, I'm doing what I'm supposed to. But when you get to the point where you're feeling
Hmm.
better, you're sleeping better, you have more energy. I mean, those are all things that money can't buy.
Right,
Money,
right.
man. If it could, then we wouldn't be living in a world that has the problem. So to be in
Yeah,
something to where you're making decisions for yourself, to where you're doing something for Crystal, and Crystal's able to see, I'm better in this area, this area. That's just great, and that has to make you feel good. Yeah, that's awesome.
absolutely. And even on top of that, to
Mhm.
to make an impact for my family. I don't want to be. I'm a young grandmother, but I don't want to be a old grandmother because I have no energy and can't get up and do life with my grandkids. So that to me is a big piece of my why.
Well, Krystal, I don't know what age you are, and I'm not asking, but you don't look a day over 21. So you're doing something right, Krystal.
You're very nice. I received that. Thank
Okay,
you.
all right, all right, right. That's great. You look great. So that is awesome, and I'm so glad that you've been able to get some positive results. So let's talk about your group. You want to shout out your group? Any your coach, your leader, anybody you want to shout out? How has that been?
So my coach, it's been wonderful. My coach is Debbie Brooks, and we our group name is Pretty Cute and Fit
Pretty.
PCF, and
Like that.
it's been wonderful. It's like we've created a sisterhood that will probably be carried on long after we finish the 40 days, because we're sharing our stories. We are meeting weekly via Zoom, so it's wonderful. A lot of motivation.
That is great. How has it been going through the process with other, like within a group? How has that been for you?
That is, that's an easy for me, because I through our church I do what we call freedom groups, and
Okay.
so I lead a women's group every Monday night with about the same size as what this group is. So um,
Awesome. Yeah.
being in a small group with women I don't know is comfortable
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
awesome. It's like, when you're weak, you can get strength from the group. And people can draw
absolutely.
from you when they're weak. It's such a great thing
Yes,
because I've worked with people who you have individuals who may have certain mental challenges. They may not learn as quickly as others. They may have some type of medical conditions that cause them to not grasp things as quickly. I've dealt with people who had strokes, uh, had physical limitations, but the beauty of, regardless of where people are, when you're in a group, it's like all of your strengths or whatever your weaknesses are can be supplemented by the strengths within the group, which is just a beautiful thing. And everyone can just
yeah,
exist. And when you think about it, that's how God made all of us, that's
absolutely. Iron sharpens iron.
right. Being a part of a small group
Yeah,
ministry, like, in your women's group, it's just great because, we can all look out for each other, and it's great.
absolutely,
That's awesome.
absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
salute to your group and everything. What's been the most difficult part of the process for you?
I, and it seems like it's getting easier. And I will say the reason things are getting easier for me is um, I've just really leaned on God. I
Yeah.
mean, when I, throughout the day, it's been hard when I'm like, I eat my meals.
Yeah.
I have an alarm on my phone for 8, 12, 3, and 6.
Right.
But during the off times when I'm not eating, sometimes I'll start to feel hungry and I'm like, I just love to have a little bit of a crunch, like some bag of chips or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I
because
get it.
with me working from home, the pantry's right there.
Mhm.
Um, but really, I've just started like talking to God during those times. Okay, God, I need you to take this hunger away, replace
Yeah.
it with something different.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm drinking about 180 ounces of water a day because it keeps me full. But
Yeah.
um, that seems to help also.
Yeah. It does. It keeps you full. That is
Yes.
awesome. What has been the biggest surprise? Like, what's something that's happened that you wouldn't have thought this would have happened, if you had to say?
Probably probably the my just seeing the movement on the scales. i
Yeah.
i was like, I'm not gonna see that. And I'm one of these people that I weigh every day because i'm
Yeah.
i'm trying and I'm putting in the effort, so I want to see what the scale is going to say.
Right.
um and it's not it's a sense of encouragement, if you will.
Yeah.
When I So that's the biggest thing for me. And then when I put on my clothes,
Yeah.
they feel different, and
Yeah.
that's a huge thing for me.
Yeah. That's huge. And
Hmm.
that's a great reason, to have,
Yes.
like I tell people all the time, results are key. It's what keeps you in the race. So That
Yes. Yeah.
that is just awesome. Well, what I want to do before I let you go, I want to have what we call some fun questions. Are you okay with that?
Okay.
I got some
Absolutely.
questions totally for Krystal. No one else has had these questions.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Krystal, if you could eat one type of cuisine, Chinese food, Japanese food, Italian food, American food, but you had to eat it for the rest of your life, you couldn't eat anything else, what would that cuisine be?
I would say Tex-Mex, Mexican
Oh,
food,
Tex-Mex.
um, with a lot of chips and salsa.
Oh,
That
you can't.
I could live on that.
Tex-Mex with a nice margarita. Hey, I'm in there.
Yes. Yes.
The style,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Right.
All right. All right. If you could talk with any person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Hmm. I think I would love to have a conversation with Peter.
Okay. The
I
apostle.
think that yes, I think that that would be so eye-opening because he had his own struggles, but look how he overcame.
Yeah.
Um, and I think what an inspiration.
No, that's so
And
true.
he was up and close to Jesus. So short of talking to Jesus, which would be
Yeah.
my number one,
Right. Right.
just talking to one of his main people would be amazing.
And like you say, he had so many struggles, but he had the keys to heaven. He was given the keys. I mean, what a
Yes.
great story. And it lets
Mhm.
you, it gives you so much inspiration when you look upon your own issues and you say, well, if God can do it for Peter, he can do it for me too.
Amen.
That's great. Okay. All right. I got another question. If you could seek advice from any person on any subject, who would it be and what would you seek advice for?
Let's see. Oh, that's a good
I got some
question.
good ones for you, Miss Krystal.
I think um, I think it would be my grandmother. She's no longer with us, but she
Okay.
was just she she was a true person of God. Like there was
Mhm.
she never complained. She always found the good in everything.
Mhm.
And so I would just want to sit down and talk to her and say, how did you do that? How did you do that when life hits you square in the face and
Mhm.
you still smile and you still find that joy?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that would be my thing.
It's like our grandparents, when you were children, we kind of took advantage of their wisdom. But as we get older, you realize how they knew so much more than we even thought. I know that's how it is with me.
Yeah.
That's
And as we get older, we always think we know it all.
right. Exactly. Right. That's so true. Okay. I got two more questions for you. If you had to live anywhere else in the world in terms of in terms of United States, where would you live?
Mm. I would say in the beautiful parts of Nicaragua.
Mm,
My daughter and I went there several times when she was in high school for mission trips, and it's beautiful. But I'd
mm.
say I would want to live there in the beautiful parts, but close enough to where I could go serve also.
I've heard it's gorgeous down there
It is. It's so pretty.
because I
So
think
pretty.
that's like Central America somewhere
It
like
is.
right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. All right. Last question. What would be a dream vacation for you? A place that you've always wanted to go, but you've never been?
I, I've always wanted to go to the Holy Land.
Mhm.
I don't know if that will happen
Yeah.
given the state of everything,
Yeah.
but that is both my husband and I's bucket list.
Yeah.
So I'm believing that one day we are
Yeah.
going to go there and spend a couple weeks and just walk where Jesus did.
It's interesting that you say that because I feel the same. I've always wanted to go to the Holy Land, and it's strange because every time we make plans to go, something happens. It's been like 4 different times.
Right.
I'll tell you this, I would love to go there, like you say, take the steps of Jesus to see the areas, the Mount of Olives, Jerusalem, Calvary, all those different places. But I would
Mhm.
love to to baptize our children in the Holy Land. That's like that would be a dream
Yes.
for me, to do. And I'm certain that you kind of know what I'm saying. And like you're saying,
Yes.
when you look at all the tension that's going on, you wonder, Lord, will it ever be safe? And if so, when? But we can do is just pray and keep those people in that conflict in God's hands and see what happens.
Absolutely.
Well, Miss Krystal, you've been a dream interviewee. Thank you so much for joining me on today. You've got great energy and just a beautiful spirit on the outside and on the inside. So thank you for being my guest on today. And I wish you the very, very best.
Thank you.
And I look forward to talking with you again very soon. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Joe.
Thank you now.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Miss Krystal Shipp. What a great interviewee she was, all the way out there from North Texas. Our Texans have been doing it big. Krystal and our guest last week, Miss Lisa, are both from Texas. So shout out to Krystal. What a beautiful soul and spirit. Thank you, Krystal, for taking the time to share with us about your amazing family and your story and what it is that you do. We are blessed to have such an amazing person like you a part of our village. I always like to close out with bringing up things that I've heard our guests say to make certain points or to bring out certain points. And one of the things that she said is sometimes she struggles. Sometimes, I want a little crunch. I'm craving for a snack. And gang, listen, that happens. Excuse me. But just like anything else, you're not going to have all the skills that you need to be perfect at anything. A great artist wasn't made overnight. A great musician wasn't made overnight. Even Jesus Christ had to be prepared for 30 years before he started his ministry. You have to ask yourself, why 30 and not 27? Maybe even in the life of the Son of God, there was a season of preparation. All right. So the point of life and the point of this new lifestyle is you got to work at it. You got to continue to monitor yourself. You got to continue to get better. You got to continue to assess yourself, not only week by week, but day by day. What new decisions can I make today so I can get a better outcome on tomorrow? Gang, it's all about that. Well, I thank you guys for being my guest on today and for joining us. Shout out again to Krystal Shipp for being our great guest. We're entering in a new week on tomorrow. I'll be live at some point in the morning for your updates and the analysis of how you performed. For any of you all who are looking for more information for what the 4-day Turnup is, how you can find out more information, I want to encourage you to join us on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, and right here on YouTube all have the same handle at Journey Life TV. Again, happy resurrection. Be blessed, and we'll see you on tomorrow, God willing. Peace and blessings.